Hello, Infinite Hope. This is Skierkowa. This is going to be really quick. In fact, I'm recording it straight to YouTube. I wasn't planning to make another video tonight. I just wanted to get this out of the way before I go to bed. Um, First of all, I appreciate the tone of reconciliation here. And sure, I guess we can go after this again. I'm gonna miss a lot of points here because I'm trying to do this really quick, and I'm gonna go to bed. Um, but a couple things I wanted to say. Why I might have responded with a little bit less patience than I should have. Um, and it was less patience than I should have. I should have been more patient, obviously. Um, your first video, to some extent this second video too, to be perfectly honest, came across as a little patronizing. Um, it seems like you're telling me how I should debate, or I should be debating this way, and yet the point of contention is still in dispute. It's like it's too early in the conversation to just assume that you're right and I should be doing things your way. Does that make sense? And if not, I'll clear that up later. Couple things wanted to mention. A lot of what you told me I should have explained more. When you said, for example, that I should have backed up my assertion that those words don't constitute definitions. There Well, I did to some extent. I talked about that in my first video, the one you were responding to. I feel like there's probably I don't didn't it wasn't a very it wasn't I didn't treat the issue with much depth, but I did talk about it. And the reason I didn't get deeper into it is because I could have gotten deeper on a lot of issues, and if I had done that for each of those issues that deserved attention equally, the video would have been an hour long. And another reason that I didn't pick a specific definition and prove it to be incoherent is that the video wasn't about that. I wanted the person I'm debating with to respond with their own definition. I'm not going to start by attacking definitions. Why don't we come up with a definition we can agree on, and we need to get to the point where we can actually have something that we can talk about. And a lot of the definitions that people give aren't even ones that you can talk about. What else? What else? Um, Something else. You talked about the science as a way of knowing things, and you talk about personal truths and metaphysical truths and all these other things. You listed many, and I don't remember most of them. But what I do remember is that I think all of them, and I'd certainly feel confident saying at least most of them. It's debatable if those things are any more knowable in the rest of philosophy than they are in the science. I mean, yeah, you're right. Science can't tell you the truth of the matter when it comes to those things, but I don't think anything else can either. You talk about there's a painting, and one person says it's ugly, one person says it's beautiful. Well, you can talk about it, but if you can talk philosophy, I don't think either of you is going to be vindicated just by philosophy. Philosophy can't tell you which one of you is right. Science at least can do this much. Science at least can study aesthetics from an evolutionary point of view, from a psychological point of view, and say, these are the sorts of elements that generally, across broad areas of the population, there are trends. They tend to be aesthetically pleasing, and these other things tend to be aesthetically displeasing. So science can kind of give a response to that, whereas philosophy, which seems to be what you're advocating here, I don't think that can give an answer at all, even to the questions that you offer as non-scientific truths. And also, more to the point, I'm not so sure that they are truths at all. You talk about science having to assume that all this is real in the first place. Well, in a sense, that's true, but it's not as if there's some other method or philosophy that is going to give you the answer to whether it is or not. We have no choice but to assume it's real. In fact, with the exception of existentialism, every other philosophy assumes that it's real as well. possibly nihilism, um, and all the postmodern stuff. But I don't go into that postmodern crap. Um, I don't think that I think that when it comes to talking about science and truth, I think you and I were kind of talking past each other here. What I mean when I talk about truth and when I talk about science as a method of helping us know things, I'm using a definition for know and a definition for K-N-O-W and a definition for truth that is just not the same one you're using in the examples that you give. Um, as I said earlier, oh, hey, something else I should point out. Just throwing this out there. When I lean back, or when I lean forward, or whatever, that more than anything else just has to do with the fact that how comfortable I am at one moment. Or sometimes, I'll be leaning back, and mostly I'm either looking at the camera, or if I happen to have some thoughts open in Notepad, I'll be looking at that. And if I happen to glance at the screen where I see myself, I may think, oh, I'm too small in the shot, I should lean forward. I'm usually pretty aware of that sort of thing, so I doubt very much that it has anything to do with what points are. My hand gestures, on the other hand, you can usually tell a lot about what I consider important by my hand gestures. So, in brief, to kind of sum up, sorry that I was impatient with you in the first video. A lot of what I didn't cover was purely for the sake of brevity, not because I didn't have an answer or I didn't think one needed to be given. When I talk about other people like Prof. MTH or 8-Foot Manchild, I'm not saying that they're better than me at dealing with these topics. Although I should be also equally clear that right now I'm not necessarily saying they aren't. I'm just not going there. What I'm saying is they've already covered the topic very well, to the point that if you really want to hear more information about it, you should just go see their video. I'm not going to reinvent the wheel here and take up more time in what's already going to be a long video. I don't agree with your definition of truth and knowing when we're talking about science and its value. And there were a lot of other things that I would talk about in more detail if I took more time to break your video apart. And I may or may not do that later. I don't know. I'm not going to try to get into all of it here in this video. So that's really all I got right now. Have a good night, or depending on when you watch this, a good morning, and I will see you later. Say hi to Shred Ninja for me.